guys are live now. Just a reminder, speak into the mics when you guys are talking. Just on the recording.
Thank you.
Alright, today is the 22nd day of January 2026, at 6 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Valadez.
Here.
Councilmember Predmore.
Here.
Councilmember Fisher.
Here.
Councilmember DeFrancis.
Here.
Councilmember Shipp.
Here.
John Yockel.
Thank you. Invocation. Mike's usually our resident prayer speaker. Would you like to do it?
Sure. Please stand. All right, if you bow your heads, please. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity for us to gather for the good of the city and the good of the people. Please help us to make the right decisions. Take care of those here. Please look down upon those who are not here, our military, our first responders, and anyone that we put in our prayers. Please help us and guide us with the best intentions. This we ask you. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Community input.
None.
There is none. Consent agenda items. 1.1, January 13, 2026 regular meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion that we accept the January 13, 2026 regular meeting minutes.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? That passes. Action items 2.1, discuss and consider fiscal year ending September 2025 financial audit. Don Coleman.
So I will need these back. These are just copies that he's providing. The one in your packet was a draft. There was only one change, which I had circled. And that is just all it. It just was the tax rate that was not correct.
Good evening, I am John Allman, CPA, and I first would like to thank the mayor and council members for choosing my firm to do the audit for City of Bertram once again. Greatly appreciate the business. And of course, we need to have to thank the staff here. Everyone was great to work with, which is of course Georgina, since she's the city manager, secretary, and finance director. So again, big thanks to her for wearing all those hats so well. So if you have your report there, let's go to page 3. Under financial highlights there at the top, that first bullet point reads, the city's government-wide net position increased $2,211,972 as a result of the year's operations. What's that mean in English? Net position increases net income. So the city of Bertram did increase its net position $2.2 million overall. That is both general fund and water sewer, and of course other grant money helped contribute to that. The next bullet point there reads, city's business type activities net position increased $1,494,325 as a result of the year's operations. And the city's general fund activities, okay, probably hear me.
Yeah, we can see you still hear you, but for the recording.
Okay, hello? Yeah. Then the city's general fund activities net position increased $717,647 for the year. What's that mean in English? Business type is water sewer. So water sewer net income almost $1.5 million, $1,494,000. General fund net income $717,000. So the third bullet point, total revenues from all sources were $6,328,981, which was an increase of $1,560,000 over the prior year. And this was primarily due to increases in water impact fees and water income. So that's growth there in the water sewer system. Fourth bullet point there, during the year, the city's cost of all programs was $4,117,009, which represents an increase of $25,519 from the prior year. So big 1.5 million increase in your revenue and only 25,000 increase in expenses. That's pretty good. If y'all could teach my wife to do that, I could quit doing this. Anyway, last bullet point there at September 30, 2025. City's governmental funds reported ending balance of $1,324,687, which represents a decrease of $190,958. What's that mean in English? Governmental funds is basically cash basis. So government-wide, which I talked about above, you're like, wow, wait a minute, we made all this money. Governmental funds makes capital assets an expense rather than depreciating. So y'all added a bunch of capital assets last year. So that's why I had a decrease in your governmental funds, because they're, and under this accounting, they're expensed, where the government-wide accounting, they're capitalized and depreciated. So it's just a brief explanation there. Like I say, in any government audit, you have to do government-wide and government fund financial statements. Let's turn to page 6. That is the statement of net position, which is government audit for balance sheet. So this is the balance sheet for the city of Bertram. Again, governmental activities is your general fund. Business type activities, water, sewer. We do have 25 and 24 side by side to compare. So your current and other assets in the general fund, basically that's going to be your checking accounts, just any and all bank accounts there in the general fund, plus property tax receivable and sales tax receivable. $1,497,823, down from the $1,680,000 in the prior year, so down about $180,000, slight decrease there. Your capital assets in the general fund net, that is net of depreciation, $972,000, up from about $940,000. So you did add some capital assets in the general fund too. Restricted assets, this is all cash. This is all just cash that is set aside for specific purposes. $1,578,191 in 25, $1,476,185 in 24. So we're up about $100,000 in your restricted cash for the year. Total assets $4,048,000, down just slightly from the $4,096,000. Deferred outflows of resources, that's a TMRS pension number. Doesn't really affect the city of Bertram. $37,000, down from about $57,000. Current liabilities, that'd be accounts payable in the current portion of any loans or notes that you have. $227,000, up from $196,000, so slight about $30,000 increase there. Long-term liabilities, you did decrease, so you paid down your debt there, which is of course good. $834,000, down from $928,000, so almost $100,000 decrease there in your general fund long-term debt. Total liabilities were $1,062,000, down from $1,124,000, so again reduced your liabilities in the general fund by about $62,000. Deferred inflows, again a pension number, comes just straight from TMRS. $185,000, up from $165,000. Your net position or net worth, the net investment capital assets, that's kind of like the blue book value of your assets, be your capital assets minus depreciation minus any loans against them. $821,000, up from about $702,000. So we're up about $120,000 on your net investment in your capital assets. Restricted funds for debt service, $120,575, slight decrease from $121,000 in the year before. Street maintenance, you have $287,000 saved up from about $190,000. So you're up about almost $97,000 there. Other non-major funds, court tech, court security, things like that. I believe police, there's some police funds in there too. $459,000, up from about $358,000, so you're up about $100,000. And restricted funds for just other activities. Unrestricted, free and clear, can be spent however you also choose. $1,147,860, down from the $1,491,000. So total net position $2,837,000, down slightly from the $2,863,000. Move over to the business type activities, which is water, sewer. 25 and 24 again side by side. So your current and other assets there, $6,909,782. Big increase from the $1,883,874. So we got a $5 million increase there. That would be to grant funds primarily. Your capital assets net of depreciation, $5,301,539, up from the $5,173,000, so up about $130,000. But of course, added a lot more capital assets in that, and then a lot of capital assets are still, or actually moved let's back to restricted assets again. That's cash in the water sewer fund. Again, that's, reserved or restricted for specific purposes. 17,739,000 down from 20,193,000. So right at it's at $3.5 million. More of that money was freed up into your current assets up above. So that's where a big part of that $5 million increase come from, was from moving restricted cash into just regular cash. So yeah, total assets almost 30 million, 29,951,000, up from the 28,250,000. So you're up about 1,750,000 on your total assets. Deferred outflows again, pension number 33,000 down from 51. Current liabilities in water sewer 692,000 down from 764. A lot more debt in water sewer, that's why those numbers are higher. Long-term liabilities in water sewer, as I mentioned, a lot more debt in there. 20,762,000, but that is down from the 21,573,000. So you did decrease your long-term debt in the water sewer fund by about 800,000. So yeah, nice decrease in your long-term debt there. Total liabilities 21,454,000 down from the 22,337,000. So about a $900,000 decrease overall in your debt, which is of course good. Deferred inflows of resources, again, TMRS pension number 166,000 up from 148. Your net investment capital assets 1,762,000 down from the 4,225,000. That's because moving the restricted assets into current cash. Debt service 758,000 down from 820. Unrestricted free and clear could be spent however you so choose. 5,843,000, big increase from the 770,000, $5 million increase. So total net position 8,364,000 up from the 5,816,000. So you're up about $2.5 million overall on your water sewer net position. Let's move now to page 7. Your change in net position, which is government audit for profit and loss or income statement. So this is the income statement for the city of Bertram. Start with governmental activities on the left. Getting 25 and 24 side by side. So program revenues, charges for services, that's basically license permits, fees, day-to-day operations of the city. Big increase here, 369,000 up from 240. So you increased 50% on your license and permit revenues. Really good. Of course, you all already know, just due to the rapid growth going on here. Property tax revenues were also up 1,133,000 up from 1,066,000. So you added about 66,000 to your property tax revenue. Sales tax also a big increase, 780,851 up from 621. So about $160,000 increase in your sales tax. So far revenues just up and up. Franchise fees, about the same there, slight increase, 72,000 up from about 70. Hotel tax and alcohol beverage tax, 30,000 up from 25. Court fines and fees also up a little bit, 160, right at 161,000 up from about 130. So you're up about 31,000 there. Grant income, 67,000 up from 53. Your other income, 111,000 up from right at 33. Interest income, 28, almost 29,000 up from 22. Total revenues in the general fund, 2,753,860. Increased about 500,000 from the 2,262,000 in the prior year. Your general government expenses were 1,648,000. Slight increase from the 1,610,000, but 38,000. Public safety, darn near identical, right at 213,000. Up from right about 212, so very tiny $1,000 increase there in public safety. Public works, that's your street maintenance, 45,480 down from 47,702. Again, just real consistent. Their court expenses were actually down a little bit, 53,000 down from 69. Parks and Rec were up 75,000 up from 44. So total expenses in the general fund were 2,036,213 up from the 1,983,000. So you're up about 53,000 overall. $53,000 increase in expenses versus 500,000 increase in revenue. Again, that's really good. Yeah, I would like to be able to do that. And then transferred 743,000 from the general fund to the water sewer fund. So now let's look at the business type activities, your water sewer fund. So charges for services there, so this all the water, sewer, and sanitation fees, and as I mentioned, impact fees are included with this huge increase here, $3,500,000, up from the $1,985,000, so you increased your water sewer revenues. $1.5 million, about, just eyeballing about 75%, huge increase in your water sewer revenue. I'm sorry, grant income was actually down about 45,000, down from 44. Other income 2,000, down from about 14. Interest income 27,000, up from about 22. So total revenues in the water sewer fund were $3,575,000, up from the $2,505,000. So you're up about $1,070,000 overall. With most of that, or actually since grant revenues were down, as I mentioned, you're over $1.5 million up on your water sewer revenues. Total expenses in water sewer, general government, that's just your pension expenses, $14,000 pretty much for both years. Water and sewer expenses were $2,066,714, actually down from the $2,093,672. So that's like $27,000 decrease, but again, decreasing your expenses while increasing your revenue $1.5 million is pretty amazing. So again, your net increase in net position was $2,237,824 after the transfers. So just a huge, fantastic year in the water sewer fund. That's all the numbers I had tonight. Any comments or questions?
You're welcome.
I appreciate you braving the ice, it looks pretty good.
I apologize for being a minute too late. I had to go 29 instead of the back way, cause didn't know if that bridge would be in real good shape. Coming the back way up 11.
So 29 was clear, so you're good.
Yeah, well, I'm saying, I usually
That's the way I
come-
do it, yeah.
I usually come 1174 to, what is that, 320, 323, I think. And then there's that bridge there I wasn't sure about, so yeah, I just went 29.
Thank you. Thank you very
Thank
much.
y'all.
Sir.
Thank you.
2.2, discuss and consider Mayor Dixon's resignation and procedure moving forward until the election. So as y'all know, the mayor resigned effective January 21st due to health reasons. And so we're kinda at the, as Mayor Pro Tem, I'm acting in his place. But we need to figure out how we're moving forward until the May election.
So after speaking with city legal, moving forward, John, as mayor pro tem, will assume the duties of the mayor. He will still get a vote on council. This action item is basically to tell us how you wanna move forward with, do you want to appoint someone? The options are to appoint somebody or leave it vacant until the election, which is, he was up for election in May anyway. So we've got February, March, and April, essentially.
No, I'll tell you kind of what I was looking at, because initially I thought we should probably appoint, because we would need somebody as mayor pro tem to step in the event that I'm not around. However, we looked into it, and if the mayor or the mayor pro tem are not present, any council member can take a meeting.
To run the meeting, not take the duties. It just-
Correct,
yeah.
to run the meeting. So if that's the case, I mean, it's up to council, but
That's it.
Just to be clear, John still gets a vote, John can still make
Correct.
motions, John is still an active voting member on the council.
and as of the mayor, you will not have a vote, so then it would leave only four, so.
Well, I think with that being said, in the law that way, my idea would just be to leave it as is.
That's kind of,
I agree.
Because in a few months, we have to change it up again anyway.
so, I need a motion on that.
I make a motion that we do not appoint a new council member to fill John's position
To appoint the
to
mayor.
appoint, yes.
To
appoint the
not,
mayor.
to do not appoint a mayor.
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second, all those in favor? And that passes. 2.3, discuss and consider removal of Michael Dickinson as check signer on city banking accounts.
So currently, the check signers are myself, Mayor Mike, and Anthony and Randall. We're going to have to make changes anyway come the May election. If Randall isn't, elected again, he is running, just so you know, he's running again. However, but if he's not elected, we'll have to make changes again during that. Anyway, and sign all that paperwork over again.
That's a lot.
And it's a lot, so it's for every account, and we have like 36 accounts.
And with the three of you currently, there's no issues
There's
getting
no
the check
issue.
signed.
They're very responsive to coming in here and signing.
So we need a motion to
So three's enough.
So 3's enough for right now.
remove.
I'll make a motion that we remove Mike Dickerson as a check signer. Second.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
And keep the remaining 3.
Yes.
Keep the remaining
Yes.
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
That passes. 2.4, discuss and consider Panther Park new signage and cost. Anthony, this was brought up by you last meeting,
Yes,
you kinda wanna,
yeah, I was just looking at the Panther Park sign down here off Vaughn Street, if we can do something, have EDC look into it, or someone look in to upgrade it, make it look a little nicer. I was also hoping to have City of Bertram a little more prevalent on there. I know Panther Park's nice and big, and that's good, but it says City of Bertram like this. If not, if we can get a nicer sign, speaking with Adam, it is looking pretty ratty, so.
I've got a picture of the
yeah,
one that's gonna
Georgina,
look like.
I talked to Georgina about this earlier. There's already a plan to update all the signs for the park, this is, I'll pass this down, that's the one for Johnny May Wheeler, that's kinda what they're all gonna look like. I didn't like the green, so for Panther Park, I wanna see that maroon. If y'all don't know, the reason it's Panther Park is Bertram used to be the Bertram Panthers, and, the colors were maroon, up until my kids were in school. So, that's why it was named Panther Park. So I'd like to stay with that theme of maroon. And then the sign over here, everything's blue over there. I think if we just color code, J.O. Wilson Park, the baseball fields, is maroon also, everything's maroon. So,
So maroon,
Keep it the
so
same.
maroon,
what do y'all think? I mean,
Yeah,
I think it's
consistency.
good. Maroon and
blue.
blue.
Yeah, we already have it in the budget to replace the
Okay.
park signage, so that's not an issue, but each of those signs cost approximately like $300 because it's by the letter. But, we had it already in the budget to replace signage in the park. It's just a process to
So
get it.
just a step ahead, okay.
No, it's not, thank you for bringing, because I don't go down there park and obviously look at it, otherwise we gotta change it a lot sooner.
she's saying she forgot.
No, I'm not saying I
Must,
forgot,
one
I'm
of those
saying that
hats must be too
I
tight.
didn't go over there and look at that signage, but we do have Parks and Rec people who should have brought that to my attention.
We need any kind of motion on
I
that?
don't think we need a motion
No, I don't
for
think
it.
the motion was
Okay.
necessary. I just wanted Anthony to be aware that we are looking into it.
Alright, thank you.
Appreciate it. 2.5, discuss and consider ordinance number 228012726. An ordinance of the City Council of the City of Bertram ordering a special election for the purpose of submitting to the registered voters Proposition A for the purpose of voting for or against the adoption of the local sales and use tax in the City of Bertram at the rate of 1 1/4%. For the purpose of electing an alderman to fill an expired term, ordering a general election of the mayor and 2 aldermen, providing that the election be held on May 2nd, 2026, making provision for the conduct of such election according to applicable provisions of law, providing for publication of an appropriate election notice hereafter, and other provisions incident to and related to the purpose thereof.
I have a
So-
question.
with Mike, as his resignation. And so that opens up the mayor's spot. And if, depending on who runs for mayor, whatever, wouldn't that open it up? Like if, for instance, John ran for mayor and was elected mayor, wouldn't that open it up to 3 seats as alderman?
So what happens if John can't run for 2 at the same
Right.
time? So if John decides to run for mayor, yes, that leaves it open, but we run at large. So essentially, what you could do is appoint somebody totally new, or you can appoint the fourth.
It would be the same process that we did with Lane.
Yeah.
When Lane was reappointed. So, and the same logic,
Would apply.
so, and I'll tell you right now, the logic I used when talking about reappointing Lane is Lane actually ran an election and was voted, he got votes from the city of Bertram, and the other people had not. So, that same logic, if 4 or 5 people run for these 3 spots that are open, then the logic I would use is that the 4th closest would be the most likely candidate. Now, I'm not saying that's how it has to be, but that's the logic that,
So essentially,
would
yes,
use.
there will be a vacant seat come the May election, and that's gonna be, if John
Yeah.
decides to run in the mayor's spot, and John.
Or somebody,
Or,
yeah.
if John
or
decides.
anybody up here, if
Right.
Yeah.
they're holding the current spot.
Yeah, if you're holding a current spot and you decide to run for council and you're gonna leave your spot vacant, there will be a vacancy come the May election. So they could be appointed during the next regular meeting, if they want, if you wanted to do it that way.
Okay.
But we'll discuss that during that time.
Does that answer your question?
So if you have questions about the 1 1/4%, let me explain to you what happened. So municipal development district is a 1/4% of sales tax, so they get half of what the EDC gets. It's a special tax that is approved and voted on by the voters of Bertram, okay? It has to be renewed every 5 years. State comptroller sent us paperwork to get the renewal after our May election, cause they assumed our election was in November. So they thought we could get it on the ballot for the November ballot. And I said, well, our ballot is in May, so it's too late for the last election. So when you guys ran, it was too late to put it on that ballot. So essentially, that 1/4% that was for MDD is going away come March. I got the letter right here. It goes away in March. She said, the state comptroller lady, then I called and I said, well, I can't get this on the ballot until May. What happens in those 2 months? And she said, well, you're gonna lose it for those 2 months, and it's gotta be voted on again by the taxpayers. But instead of putting it on a special tax for municipal development district, put it underneath your sales tax, increase your sales tax by the 1 1/4%, and allocate the money like we do for EDC out of the sales tax that comes in. The 1/4% will still go to MDD just through sales tax. So essentially, I get 2 letters every month right now currently. I get one for sales tax and one directly to MDD, because it's a special tax. Underneath the sales tax, I pull out a street maintenance tax and a EDC tax and then the rest of it goes to the city funds. So out of that 1% currently, that's what happens to it. With the increase of a 1/4%, now we're gonna be taking in a 1 1/4%, but that's because that 25% over here went away. So essentially, we're just removing it, redistributing it, is what they're calling it. So we're redistributing it all under to sales tax instead of having its own special tax. Does that make sense?
And this way we won't lose 2 months.
And this way, I don't have to renew it every 5 years.
Right.
We're still losing those 2 months.
Okay.
So this way, I don't have to renew it every 5 years. This way, it's just automatic from here on out.
So
1 1/4%.
that, you call it MDD?
Municipal Development District.
Okay, so my only question is, taxpayer just like everybody else. Are you gonna increase my sales tax today and then wanna increase my MDD tomorrow?
We can't, cause we're gonna go to the max that we can take.
Alright.
This is the max.
I wanna make
We're
sure.
at the max, today we're at the max, it's at 8.25%. State still gets their 6%, the city gets the 2.25. We're right there where we're at.
So there's no double dipping here.
There's no double dipping
Okay.
here.
And
It's
it's
just
just-
redistributing it from that,
Okay.
that 0.25% that we're currently taking for MDD, we're gonna put it over into sales tax. And in-house here, like I do for EDC, I'm gonna be cutting a check to EDC, I'm gonna be cutting a check to Municipal Development District, and I'm gonna be transferring a quarter into street maintenance, just like I have been.
The bottom line is no increase.
There's no
for anyone
increase,
out
but
there.
on the tax
Your
code,
form. Okay.
327, I have to state that this is a tax increase, because it is an increase in sales tax, but they don't allow me to put, but a decrease in municipal development district. That's- They don't allow me to
No.
put that on there. So it's just gonna be about education and about informing, redistributing the municipal development tax into sales tax,
Right.
essentially what's happening. So, I hope that made sense, I mean,
No, it
that's
does.
essentially what.
Yeah.
I just wanna make sure.
Yeah.
It's
Just
not
wanna
an,
clear it
it's
up.
not an increase, but I gotta state it's an increase on
Okay.
all of the notification that's going out, because we're increasing sales tax, we are increasing sales tax, but we're
So they
decreasing.
kinda
Everybody's
call
paying
it
the
money
same.
laundering?
That's not money
Oh,
laundering,
it's not,
that's redistributing the
He
sales
said
tax.
He said that, yeah, everybody's.
Alright, do we have a motion?
I'm gonna make a motion that we approve ordinance number 228-0127.
I will second that.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor? And that passes. 2.6, discuss and consider city's permanent water supply and expansion of water and sewer systems and supply options. City Council, the City of Bertram reserves the right to adjourn into executive session at any time during the course of this meeting to discuss any matters listed on this agenda as authorized by the Texas Government Code Section 551.071. There is nothing, for water that we need to go into executive session for, so. We'll move on to future agenda items.
I have nothing.
I've got a couple actually. So I visited with the chief and the lieutenant, this week. And Mike was working on this before, he left, but we were talking about dissolving, so currently there are two, police positions open right now. And one has been open for 2 years and one fresh. They've been doing the
Just need
job.
the action item, Mike. You just need the action.
Okay, so, I wanna dissolve one of those positions and use the funds to increase the pay of the police department.
So the future agenda item is going to be redistributing salaries?
Yeah, that sounds good.
One salary, right, or both?
There'll be one salary.
Redistribute one s-
One position, one salary.
position, okay.
And that'll make us more competitive in the area.
And just so everyone knows, those have been open for a year, 2 years. Right?
Okay, what's the other action item?
And the other thing is, I wanna talk about our sign ordinance, just visiting with code enforcement, just to revisit the sign ordinance, permitting and, fees. And then also the mixed use that you said we'd work on in February. Looking at mixed use zoning for downtown.
Is that it?
You want anything? Any motion? Alright,
I make a motion, we adjourn?
Second.
we have a motion and a second, all those in favor? Alright, this meeting is adjourned, thank you all.